I'm going to be building the most powerful system that we have ever built. Our Intel 13th Gen just arrived. We only have 3 days to complete this build, and the GPU and motherboard's not here yet, so hopefully it all arrives on time. Let's get started. Okay, boys, this is day one. Now, of course, the case, the motherboard, and the GPU is not here, but we have everything else on hand, so I think we should get a head start on filming all of this to minimize how much work we have to do in the following 2 days. Here it is, guys, the Intel Core i9-3900K CPU. I love this packaging. I love that Intel do this press media kit. What do we have in here? So they've got like a little plaque of some sort. Oh, it's actually got the specs of all of the processors on the back there. So the Intel Core i9-3900K has a max turbo frequency of up to 5.8 gigahertz. It's also got 24 cores, with 8 of them being performance cores, 16 being efficient, for a total of 32 threads. And for those of you who don't know how they work, performance cores actually have 2 threads per core, whereas efficiency cores have 1. And here that's an i5, we don't need that. We have the i9, look at that. Let's unbox this one. Check that out, guys. Guys, we're gonna run some benchmarks with this CPU. I cannot wait to see how it performs with our 4090. I am so sorry, it was nothing personal. It has finally arrived, the Asus Maximus Extreme Z790 motherboard. This is actually day 3, so it has arrived 1 day later than I was expecting, which is not good for our build time, but we have to make something work today. This build is finishing today because we need to benchmark it tomorrow, and we don't have any time left for building. But this looks absolutely incredible. It's actually got a bit of weight on it as well. It feels really premium. In terms of storage, we have the Seagate Firecurve 530 and a Corsair MP600 Pro. I'm going with 2 different storage drives today because I know one of them has games already on it, and that is obviously gonna help us out. Given that we don't have a lot of time to build this system, that is exactly what we need because, you know, installing Windows and downloading all these games, especially with Australian internet, not a good idea with only 3 days left. So I'm actually gonna take the heatsink off as well because I believe that the motherboard that we are getting actually has a built-in heatsink, so there's no need for it. So for our CPU water block of choice, I've decided to go with EK water blocks. I believe that they've got majority market share for water cooling, so I think most users will have an EK water block. Again, trying to get most realistic results that I can for the 3900K RTX 4090 system. This particular block is their full nickel CPU water block. It's for last generation, but I'm pretty sure that all the mounting holes are in the same position. And I know that our Asus motherboard, they're really good with accounting for previous generation mounting holes anyway. So this will look really nice in the system, and I love the all nickel design. So this is not exactly our fastest RAM, but this kit does have some value to us. It is the first edition Dominator Platinum RGB Corsair RAM, and it is 5200 megahertz, and also some of our best timing RAM at CL36 timings. So 2 of these sticks totaling 32 gigabytes, I think it's going to be plenty for this system to test the latest games and titles to see how well a 3900K RTX 4090 system performs. Well, this one's gonna be a really tough build to get done on time. Yeah, get it? Because it's the tough gaming GT 501. For our choice of fans, we're going to be going with the Unifan SL120 ARGB fans. They're not the best performance fans on the market, but hear me out. So I wanted to choose a fan that not only looks good, but it has average performance, because not everybody in the market is going to have the top performing Noctua fans or whatever fans perform the best. These being average is going to give me more of a defined result across the whole market. And I want to get as accurate numbers as possible with our 360mm radiator in the benchmarks. Having the best performing fans is not really a good representation for the average consumer. Now, of course, you guys know us. We're going to be putting the CPU underwater, and to combat all of the heat, we're going to go with a single 360mm radiator, the C360 27mm thick radiator from Thermaltake. Now, I want to create a realistic situation here. I think a single 360mm radiator is good for cooling a single CPU. Of course, we're not going to be putting the GPU underwater because I want to do some further testing on air with it as well. And with how big the GPUs are getting these days, soon we're not going to be able to fit real thick radiators, especially in mid-tower cases, which I think a lot of people will be using. So we'll go and do some testing with this. So this power supply is actually Thermaltake's brand new ATX 3.0 power supply. So it's meant to have some funky reading with the GPU and they communicate in some way, shape or form, but I want to test that out. So this is the perfect build for it. It is a 1650 watt power supply, and I have heard that the RTX 3090s can have quite some power draw. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be nice and efficient for an RTX 3090, and it takes the original design as well. It is not an RGB fan inside like all of the other ones. However, the fan's gonna be facing down anyway, so it's not like we're gonna see it. But we do have the dedicated GPU 12-pin power built into the power supply. So we'll take this one for a spin and see how it goes. Now this is getting really exciting. The Asus Strix RTX 4090 graphics card. It is finally here. I have not seen an RTX 4090 yet. This is our very first, and I cannot wait to build this. It's an all new design as well. It actually has a bit of weight to it, and I heard that these are very big, so let's go. Oh, wow. That thing is massive. It's got so much weight to it as well. I wonder if we're gonna need a graphics card holder to hold this thing up. Okay guys, just for size comparison, we've got our previous generation Strix. This is our new Strix. So it is about close to a little under a centimeter taller, and it is probably 2 to 3 centimeters longer, and it is definitely thicker as well. It is a big card. This thing is massive. I wonder if it's gonna fit in all our cases. Well, there's only one way to find out. So guys, you know how big that tough case is. I did a lot of testing of different reservoirs inside there with the graphics card installed, and there is not a lot that can fit. The graphics cards these days, they're just way oversized, and it's very hard to fit a reservoir in. However, we did manage to just fit this reservoir in. The way we were able to fit it is, we cannot actually mount this to the fans. There's not enough room for that, because you have to account for the bracket that you install first on the fans before screwing this in. We actually managed to get a hole on the back wall, and we're able to put it on the back wall like that, and the graphics card literally sits up right against it. I don't know how we're gonna fit 4090s in other cases. Before I share with you how the PC turned out, I took some benchmarks to show you all how much power the Intel Core i9 3900K paired with an Asus Strix RTX 4090 graphics card can produce. We loaded up TimeSpy Extreme and achieved some amazing results. To give you an idea, our previous RTX 3090 graphics score was around 10,000. So at 19,384, the RTX 4090 is almost double. Our second test is Furmark, which is designed to max out the GPU to test temperatures. Our GPU maxed out at 62 degrees and we were seeing around 440 watts. Cinebench R23 is designed to stress the CPU. Here we had some interesting results. The CPU would reach 100 degrees on some cores, 90 on others, with an average of high 80s. I also noticed the frequency throttled around 5.2 to 5.3 gigahertz because of that temperature limit. The CPU still achieved an amazing score. No game will ever push the CPU like Cinebench, so I would not expect the thermal throttle on a 360mm all-in-one cooler. Our first game, CSGO, 4K max settings, running around the map, we were achieving anywhere from 300 to 400 FPS, which is expected considering it is not a graphic intensive game. However, a lot of people play it, so I thought it was worth showing. I prefer built-in benchmarks because it's easier for viewers to test their own machines for a comparison. We loaded up Metro Exodus Extreme 4K. Impressive results as we went through each scene, never dipping below 60 FPS. In fact, a lot of the scenes were over 100 FPS. We ended up with an average of 76 FPS. PUBG 4K max settings, another game a lot of people play. Running around, we achieved around 300 to 450 FPS. Pretty insane for 4K gaming. Next is another built-in benchmark, 4K max settings, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. Majority of scenes were at that 200 to 250 FPS mark, and our average ended up being 233 FPS. Our next game, Fortnite 4K epic settings, running around the map, we were achieving around 100 to 130 FPS, and I don't play Fortnite at all, but somehow we ended up in the top 5, and then I gave the controls to Amelia to actually win the match by running over the last guy.